Is Gavin Newsom really blaming other politicians for the homelessness mess he created in California? On today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, we're diving into political gaslighting, asleep at the wheel leadership, a socialist frontrunner for 2028, the co-founder of Ben & Jerry's getting kicked out of congressional hearings, and some of the most insane court allegations in the Diddy hearing. All that and much more coming up on today's episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides, starting now.
The moment is here. This is our moment.
America, we are back, baby. Welcome to another episode of America Unfiltered with James Pascalides. We're on episode 54. Gavin Newsom is now blaming other politicians for the California homelessness crisis. You really can't make this stuff up. This stuff seems like headlines from The Onion or the Babylon Bee. But Gavin Newsom, the one who initiated his 10-year homelessness plan in 2004 to end homelessness in now blaming other politicians for the homeless crisis in California. The more money he has spent trying to fix this, the worse he has made. There's obviously ways he could have gotten this done and didn't. He is a terrible politician. He's actually a good politician because he's good at lying. He's good at speaking to people, but he's a terrible governor. He is terrible at his job. He's terrible for his constituents. He is nothing more than a low-life liar. Gavin Newsom, who was as far left as it gets, is now trying to act like he's in the middle because he realized that most sane Democrats don't align with how far left the woke mob has gotten. He's trying to realign himself with the future expectations of the party with the more sane side of the country, but it's very obvious how fraudulent it is. This guy created the homeless crisis in California. He made it thousands of times worse. San Francisco, one of the most beautiful cities in our entire nation, is disgusting. You have to look on the floor to make sure you don't step in feces. It is awful. There are people bent over on fentanyl. It is a drug marketplace, basically. San Francisco has gone so far downhill. California as well. I really think what Joe Rogan talks about when he talks about the current state of LA versus what LA used to be like 20 years ago is very correct. I think we really need to get back to a place of sanity. I am glad that Gavin Newsom is taking a more in-the-middle stance than as far left as he got, but I don't think he actually believes the things he's saying. I don't think he knows how to do any of these things. I think he's a career-long politician who knows nothing else but lying to the American people, and that's what he's going to continue trying to do. He has not solved the homeless problem in California. It has gotten a lot worse under his watch. And like I said, in 2004, he started a 10-year plan to end homelessness. The 10 years would have been 2014. It is ridiculous. Since 2014 to now, it's probably gotten over 100 times worse. The California homeless crisis is such a huge problem. It also happens in states like New York, Colorado, and all these liberal-run states and cities. They all have the same issues, and Chicago as well. But you don't see things like that in Florida. You don't see things like that in these Republican-run states. Why? Because our politicians aren't just politicians. They're good governors. They're good at their jobs. They're good in the Senate, and they take care of their constituents. We vote the correct people into office. We don't only vote based off party affiliation. We vote based off of policies as well. But it just so happens that the Republican policies seem to be a lot better for the constituents when it comes to housing, food, and things like that. Why are Democrat cities failing and their states continuously failing to uphold the rights of the Constitution, to live by their constituents, to do right by their constituents, to not waste their taxpayer dollars, waste fraud and abuse on the amount of money that was probably lining the pockets of NGOs that was supposed to be going to homelessness in California is, I would assume, the majority of the money. I would assume the majority of the money donated toward homelessness in California did not make it towards homelessness. It lined the pockets of different representatives, different politicians, and different NGOs. We need to eliminate those things. I'm very glad we have someone like Donald Trump on the federal level trying to do that right now. We're going to talk about something that upsets me a little bit. Multiple members of Congress yesterday were caught sleeping during a congressional meeting. Representatives Blake Moore, a Republican from Utah, Debbie Dinja, a Democrat from Michigan, and Jan Schakowsky, a Democrat from Illinois, were caught dozing off during marathon budget sessions. Why are we voting anyone in office who's going to be sleeping at their job? If you were sleeping at your job at any company in America, you would be fired like that. And that's what should be able to happen to politicians. If politicians are caught sleeping in congressional meetings, their constituents should be able to have an emergency vote to vote a new person into that position. Because it is not only disrespectful to our tax dollars paying that person's salary, but it is disrespectful to every single American person. It's disrespectful to all the other Congress members in the room. It's disrespectful to our founding fathers who built the system that allows us to have representatives who sit there and debate these things on our behalf. It is so disrespectful by these three representatives, and they're not alone. This is not something that's just happening now. This has happened multiple times throughout history, and I'm going to start talking about this more because it is something that upsets me. People in Congress are consistently on their phones, on social media, not paying attention to any of the things happening in these congressional meetings and hearings. And a lot of the times it's because they already know how they're going to vote. Democrats are going to vote with Democrats. Most Republicans are going to vote Republican. Donald Trump has done nothing wrong to hurt these individuals, but they seem to hate Donald Trump because of the woke mob and the woke media. It is absolutely killing our government. People wasting our tax dollars, sleeping at the wheel. I just do not think that we should have anyone in our government who is sleeping on the job. That should not be a controversial take. That should be a bare minimum statement. And it brings us to one of our next topics, someone in our government. We've talked about this a couple times this week, but we're going to talk about it one more time. AOC, according to yesterday, is leading in early polls for 2028 Democratic presidential nomination. A data for Progress poll shows her ahead of Senator Chuck Schumer by 19 points in a hypothetical New York primary matchup. Is so bad at her job. AOC thinks she's smart because she's sassy. AOC is an absolute joke. She's a clown. AOC has no idea how to run her position. She was a bartender and she should still be a bartender. And probably not even that. I can't imagine she was even a good bartender. AOC has the common sense of a rock. AOC is one of the worst people in our government next to Gavin Newsom. She is a socialist. She goes around the country with Bernie Sanders, another socialist, traveling on private jets, fighting the oligarchy. It seems like it's coming right from The Onion or Babylon Bee, but no, these are real things. AOC, Bernie Sanders, traveling the country on private jets to fight the oligarchy. Yeah, it's just one of the most insane things ever. Ben & Jerry's co-founder removed from RFK Jr.'s hearing. Ben Cohen, co-founder of Ben & Jerry's, was removed from a Senate hearing after interrupting testimony from HHS Secretary. Cohen accused RFK Jr. of spreading hate, leading to his ejection from the hearing. It is very ironic to me that a person who sells one of the most unhealthy ice creams on the market has the audacity to even show up to a hearing for the health secretary, let alone speak at it and get thrown out. This guy, he has balls. I'll give him that. If I was in his position selling ice cream that's couple thousand calories a pint, I would not have the balls to get up there and yell at RFK, who's a 70-something-year-old man who could bench press more than most 25-year-olds. It is crazy to me that he did that. It is crazy to me that Ben & Jerry's takes such a hard political stance against Donald Trump. I don't understand why an ice cream company wants to get so political. All they're doing is eliminating half their sales from all the Republican Party. Because after that, the amount of Republicans who are going to shop Ben & Jerry's is a lot less. Again, you're still going to get some, but a lot of the people on the conservative movement are not going to support Ben & Jerry's anymore when you have him just defying common sense. Why is he yelling at RFK? He wants to make America healthy again. He has eliminated food dyes. He's trying to get rid of fluoride from the water. He's trying to get rid of the seed oils that are causing cancers for our children. It is something that America needs, and I fully support RFK's journey as the health secretary and Donald Trump for picking him. It was an amazing choice. I want to go on to our last few topics today. The Diddy trial is underway, and a 2016 video that shows Sean Diddy Combs assaulting his ex-girlfriend Cassie in a hotel hallway has resurfaced online. It was played in the case. Cassie is now pregnant. She's testifying about her years of abuse, including coerced patient and drug-fueled orgies known as freak-offs by Diddy. This is absolutely vile, grotesque, and disgusting. I'm very sorry to this woman that Diddy was able to do this to her. I'm hoping that she is able to move on with her life in a very positive way, and I hope Not only are they able to find Sean Diddy Combs extremely guilty, instances like this are where I call for public executions. I think these are the instances where we need to bring them back. I really think if someone is mass raping children, the same way Jeffrey Epstein did, they should die in a very public and terrible way to send a message. It should not be a controversial statement. People 100 years ago would celebrate me for saying that. I understand we live in a more modern society, but it doesn't mean that we don't need to do what we can to put the fear of God into pedophiles. It is an absolute necessity. I want to go on to our last few topics today. Under Joe Biden, liberals did not want to deny one single immigrant coming into this country, but Donald Trump allows in 60 white South African residents who are facing genocide from where they're from, and liberals don't want to allow them in. Liberals wanted to allow every single illegal immigrant to pour into this country, but Trump allows 60 white South Africans to seek asylum in the United States, and that's where they draw the line. I have to look more into the genocide and more into everything happened with these people to further report on that aspect of it, but the fact that liberals draw their line at white people from South Africa, and it doesn't matter for MS-13 gang rapists and terrorists, it doesn't matter for child rapists, it doesn't matter for Chinese nationals and terrorists. White men and women from South Africa who are predominantly Christian, please get them out of America, according to liberals. It is one of the most absurd things. Liberals, they love illegal immigrants, but not when they're white. It's the craziest thing. I don't like illegal immigrants either way. These people were given asylum. I also think the asylum thing is mainly a loophole. But when they are facing genocide, which does seem to be true because there are multiple calls in South Africa to kill white farmers and kill white people, it's a very sad thing. I'm going to do more reporting on it in the future as I do more research. Why do liberals just hate white people? It is so racist. They don't even try and hide it anymore that they hate white people. If you're not white, you can openly say you hate white people and it doesn't matter. But if you were white, you can never say you hate another race because you would be not only canceled, ridiculed, you would get death threats, so would your family. I don't think anyone should be saying these negative things about anyone, but the fact that liberals are this hypocritical, it's laughable to me. This is our last topic today. Currently, as I'm making this right now, the Supreme Court is hearing cases on birthright citizenship. The Supreme Court is reviewing President Donald Trump's executive order aimed at restricting birthright citizenship in the United States. The order seeks to deny automatic U.S. citizenship to children born in the country unless at least one parent is a U.S. citizen or lawful permanent resident. This is something I completely agree with. We've had multiple studies and reports come out that Chinese nationals will send their pregnant women in their 7th, 8th, and 9th months to the United States to have their babies. That baby is then raised in China and brought back to the United States. We cannot incentivize illegal immigration. If you're saying, get pregnant, have your baby here, and you're a citizen, it's the easiest way. You don't have to pass a test. You don't have to wait in line. All you have to do is come on a quick vacation, pop your baby out, and they can do nothing about it. That is creating a terrible incentive. I am very glad that the Supreme Court is talking about this now. I'm not exactly sure when they will have the decision, but when they do, I will of course keep you guys updated. And the 14th Amendment wasn't even created for these people. The 14th Amendment was created for the children of freed slaves. It had nothing to do with illegal immigration. Our founding fathers never could have envisioned the mass illegal immigration that we were seeing, especially under Joe Biden. No country can sustain 11,000 unvetted illegal immigrants pouring over their borders and hurting their citizens. I'm James Pascalides. This has been episode 54 of America Unfiltered. I'm signing off today. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you.